Welcome to Guidos Bros, where we ask better questions.
Because having the answers is just not good enough.
All right, here we are, Guidos Bros. We've made it. It is official. You are seeing the very first, if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, you're seeing the very first episode of Guidos Bros. Ask better questions. That's what we're all about around here. So we're going to rabbit hole down some questions at some point. But today, let's just tell you a little bit about who we are, what we're about, what we're hoping to do with this podcast. And I'm going to let my brother Jason, I'm going to introduce him. Jason Guidos is here, and he's going to go ahead and tell us a little bit about himself and then what he's hoping to do with this podcast. And then we'll kick it back over this way. Go ahead, man.
Perfect. Well, I'm the brother. And for any of you coming over from Healthy Perspectives to watch this, I've been introduced as the brother for a while. And here we are, Guidos Brothers. So we're going to just start off by explaining exactly kind of what we see the direction of this podcast. So the first thing you're going to see is ask better questions. That's going to kind of be the underlying theme that we're going to go with. We're going to ask and answer, but hopefully if we do our job right, we end with the better question than we started with. That's the idea. And so what we're going to do is go over some of the topics that we're currently thinking about discussing, and then where it goes from there, it just goes. So do you want to alternate back and forth on this, or just want me to?
We can do it however you want. I mean, the only thing I would add to that is, for me, because I already have the clinical podcast going and I'm serious in that one all the time. It's really my hope that in here, we'll be serious sometimes for sure, depending on the topic that we're dealing with. But my hope is that in here, I can sort of let down the guard a little bit in terms of that professionalism, maybe say some stupid things that, I don't know if I mean or not, really just test the waters, and really explore the whatever the topic is from a place of, I don't have to have any answers. It's not about me giving the gift of my knowledge and experience in my realm. It's more about me just exploring, like all of you out there in podcast world. So, maybe that means it'll be funnier at sometimes. Yeah, I hope so, because I'm not always as serious as I am in Healthy Perspectives. And, maybe that means I'm going to look like an idiot sometimes, which, I can do that in Healthy Perspectives. That's fine. But, like a whole gamut of things. So that's the only thing I would add. But yeah, let's go. What do you got?
Okay. So the first topic that we're looking at is dad life. Both of us are fathers. And I would say most of the time, I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it for the first time. And when I'm done, I still won't be an expert. And we're just going to talk about what the heck's the journey like? Where are we at right now? Where have we been? And where might it go?
Yeah. No, let's hang out there for a second, just because I give people a little bit of flavor. So you're the older brother in this relationship. Mm-hmm. The audience didn't know that, probably. I don't think we've ever announced that. But you're the older brother. I'm the younger brother. And I remember vividly becoming a dad, as I'm sure you do. I remember when Tyson arrived as well. And so for me, I was already a dad when you became a dad. So mm-hmm. it was like backwards a little bit. We're not that far apart, so really, it wasn't that big of a deal. But go into the dad thing. Well, give me one thing that you absolutely screwed up in terms of, the early years. Maybe it's just one silly mistake you made, and then one thing that you nailed. Maybe you didn't know you were going to get it right, but you just absolutely nailed it.
Messed up, I would say. Well, just the idiosyncrasies of infant care. Like, I had zero clue what the heck I was doing, and I didn't ask questions as much as I maybe should have.
Hello,
know,
read the label.
well, yeah, if they came with labels, that would be perfect. But
It says ask better questions right behind me.
I know. Well, see, I didn't ask any questions was the problem. So like I didn't know how to hold an infant. I didn't know how to carry an infant. I didn't know how to like wrap. I got good at it, but I was awful at the beginning. And so I guess there were classes, but they weren't directed towards me, and I didn't pursue the knowledge as much as I could have. So that I messed up.
Okay.
I got all
What'd you
right.
get right?
What did I get right?
Yeah, something unexpected that you got right.
Well, I don't know if this was unexpected, but I still haven't grown up, and I think what I got right is knowing how to play with them. I never lost that. Like I can
You're
still,
childlike.
yeah, I can still play with them, whether it's rough and tumble or imaginative, or if it's creating weird little art pieces with them, saying, "Hey, let's just try this," and they're like, "Do you know that's going to work?" And I'm like, "No, I don't, but try it anyway."
Yeah,
So
the whole explore the world. I talk to people all the time about being childlike instead of childish. You don't want to be childish, but being childlike is super good. So yeah, no, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah, you reminded me of a little tangent. I'll go down for just a second. I one day, I don't know if I ever told you this story actually. So one day I was carrying Addie and doing the walk, the pace. So in the place out in Bend, I had that this closet in the middle. It's like an island inside the house where there was like the storage space and stuff. But the hallway was connected to the next hallways, connected to the living rooms, connected to the hallway, connected to the next hallway. So I could literally just do laps. Right. And so there I am. I'm just doing laps in the house, doing laps with my daughter, and mom called. And I have her on the phone on one side, and I'm holding her, holding that, and I'm holding the baby in one arm and the phone in the other. And I'm just walking in circles, and I'm just talking to mom. And funniest thing ever, it was the first time that Addie did this babies do this weird arch thing, right? This random just movement of like sporadic, like, I got to get out of here. And she did that. And she started tumbling to the floor. And nice. I have the phone in my other hand. I literally, I made a good decision, but it was awkward still, nonetheless. I made a good decision. I dropped the phone, grabbed the baby before she hits the floor. And then I stood up and I went, apparently I can't do both of these things at the same time. So I picked up the phone. I said, "Hey, I got to go. I almost dropped the baby." And then I hung up, and it was just me and Addie. We were just hanging out the rest of the time. But nice. Yeah, she had never done that arch thing that babies do. I was like, what the hell is that? Where did that come from?
You had the one arm hold, and that
I had the one arm hold. I was like, yeah, no, I got this. This is good. I've been doing it for months, right? Probably like 2 or 3 of them. And no problem. Yeah, no, that didn't work out so hard.
All right. Okay, so let's see. Topic number 2 is going to be sports. That's a good topic for us. We both played baseball, soccer, football growing up. Those are the 3 main sports that I know, and I enjoy talking about sports. Sometimes it's a good sports day, sometimes it's not, but anytime there's something cool, throw that in there.
Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of a funny one because we've got the major sports, but then I also added in water polo. I'm not good at it, but golf. I can tell when somebody is good at it, okay. But I'm not good at it. And I'm not honestly not entertained much by watching it. So I don't keep up with it too much. But I do like to play it. I do watch water polo in the Olympics though, all the time. It's like one of my go-tos. Let's see, other weird sports, unusual things. I kind of like some of the extreme sports stuff. I get into, some of the X Games stuff, whether that be some motocross or snowboarding. Certain types of snowboarding are considered X Games. So yeah,
And I've went to and horse racing, and I went
yeah.
I went to some highlight games when I was in Rhode Island, so I can talk about highlight.
Ooh, I don't even know what that is. What is it?
You know that game? Okay, so this will date us a little bit, but remember in Miami Vice when they would show those people in the uniform with that funny little stick that's extended out, and they would catch that ball off the wall, and they would whip it really hard against the wall? You're going to have to YouTube it. I will have to send it to you.
Yeah, do that.
So I actually went to some highlight games when I was there for a year, and they had a highlight court or whatever it's called. And that's a wicked fast game, and it's cool. So anyway, random
there's
stuff.
lots of games that we might end up talking about depending on what happens, right?
True. Okay. Let's see. Military. We were both in military. So we can definitely
different experiences, but like we can definitely talk about that. That could come up.
Yep. And there's a bunch of topics, current events on military stuff, some old stories from our time being in the fleet
sidebar. You know those Marine Corps coins that we got at one point? You sent me, I think, a set. Well, probably. when we got robbed in our home, I know this is good. I just got way too serious, but whatever. When we got robbed, one of the things that disappeared with those coins, but they contacted me about, I don't know, 2 months later and said, hey, we've got them, but we have to keep them as evidence for now. I literally just got the letter today in the mail saying they're finally going to release them to me.
Seriously?
That's been 9 years.
Yeah, I was going to say almost 10 years, man. Jeez.
Stupid. But whatever, they got them and I'm going to get them back. Woohoo.
Okay, cool.
Of all the things that they took, that's the one thing I'm going to get back. But whatever, I'll take them.
Yeah, I came and visited you once when you were living in Portland, and remember the car got broken into. I lost a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It was parked on the street.
I remember that.
Portland life. Okay. Let's see. We got current events. That's another one. So that one's like a duh, whatever was going on. It's relevant. We'll talk about it. If we don't care, we don't care. Sure. So,
but current events, if just to establish some difference, current events, when we talk about it in here, I am not going to necessarily take a clinical perspective on it. I'm just going to talk about it, like a normal guy. Although it's hard for me to not throw in the things that I do know sometimes.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to stop it completely.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes I will. It depends on what it is. Because if I get genuinely excited about something in here, I'm not gonna squash that down a little bit and just give the clinical perspective. I'm gonna be like, dude, that was the coolest thing.
And for any of you out there wondering if we're going to be like offensive or I don't know, whatever the terms are nowadays that are being thrown around, we are not going to come from a place of hate at all. And I'll tell you personally where I'm going to come from. It sticks with our theme of Ask Better Questions. It's going to come from a place of wonder. I wonder what this is like. I wonder what this perspective means. Is this perspective right? Is it wrong? Does it necessarily have a right or wrong? It's going to be from that angle. So you might get offended, and I don't know what that means, but it's not our intent. It's, hey, we're just wondering. We just want to know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no doubt. Like I try to do that to a degree, even in my other podcast, where, if let's say I were to bring up, somebody who's, making a scene in public, right? As like, in one of our episodes of, the dumb things that we found this week, right? Mm-hmm. It's not because I want to highlight them as they are stupid. It's they encountered a situation and they handled it in a way that looks really ridiculous. And so, it's not to be offensive, but it's to be like, what were they thinking? Right? Sometimes people fall down. Is that funny? Sometimes it's actually funny.
Sometimes it's really funny.
But at the end of the day, for me personally, I don't wish them ill. I just think that's friggin' funny. Like, I remember watching this episode of The Amazing Race. It was the funniest thing ever. the cheese just starts, these big old rounds of cheese start falling out of the backpacks and rolling down the hills. And like, I'm going, oh my gosh, that's going to hit somebody at the bottom and it's going to kill them. It's going to be so bad. But watching cheese roll down hills like 70 miles an hour, I gotta say, that's pretty dang funny.
And speaking of falling, I thought it'd be funny to grab a small apple, not ripened. And we came back from our running workout this morning with the kids. And so I grabbed this thing off the back of the car and I was walking through the rocks to the little sidewalk thing. And I threw it, intentionally throwing it to in front of them so they could be like, oh, apple fell on, in front of me. Well, I thought it might be also funny to just hit the side of the sidewalk flat. So
what?
So nobody saw the apple. Everybody saw me fall.
So the apple's up there rolling around and you're laying on the ground.
I'm on the ground and everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, did not go as I planned. But
But
so,
did anybody see the apple? It's over
for real.
Distraction.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Biblical topics. So we're going to touch on the Bible. So there's a lot of things to discuss there. Some of them might relate to other things. It might relate to sports or relate to military or relate to dad life. So there's a lot of different places we can go with that. Or we can just keep it, with the Bible. So we could have a whole segment where we just talk about some perspective that is being taught within the Bible. So there's that.
Cool. So while we're there, so my ad there would be, I want people to feel comfortable coming here no matter what. When we go into that, look, I don't shy away from my belief system. I'm a Christian, have been for a very long time. I work really, really hard in my world to not be judgmental. And I want people to feel comfortable coming in here. I want people to feel comfortable sending us a note, the Guidos Bros, a note saying, hey, you said this about the Bible. Like that doesn't seem like anything that I've heard before. And for me, the way I handle that is it's not going to be, you're an idiot. Don't stop paying attention to us. Do something. It's going to be, wow. Like I'm surprised you haven't heard that. Let's engage in that conversation. Let's dig deeper into that, because I want people to feel like they can explore. If somebody says to me, my background in when it comes to the Bible or religion, I've been exposed to a lot of different religions. Because I've settled on this belief system, it doesn't mean that I think I'm superior. I actually recently did a podcast on the other podcast about that very topic. I posed it like this: are Christians better than atheists? And then my answer was, well, maybe until they think they are, right? Because as soon as you think you're superior, all of a sudden you're putting yourself in some sort of position of power because of your belief. And that's messed up. It's the moment that you do that, you're no longer humble like Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're going to wrestle with stuff like that, I think, but it doesn't all have to be serious. We could talk about, some of the weird stuff that happens. There's some weird stuff that happens in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie, there's some stuff in there I go, well, I don't know. Like, well, why did we slaughter animals and send them the smoke up to heaven for years and years and years? Like thousands of years. Like that's a weird practice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. And well, we'll just leave it at that. Yes.
Good.
Okay. Let's see. Something we've talked about before, but we can explore more, is AI. AI is a reality. It is not going away. And if you saw any news today, whenever this gets released, today's Monday, the 24th of July, in the news today was the transformation of Twitter, and it's going to be embedded with AI. So this is not a topic that's going away, and it's relevant in almost everything that we're going to see. And so it's got to be discussed from time to time. So it's
Absolutely.
Anyway. So there's
that's going to be weird because who's listening? AI
AI.
is listening right now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they're listening right now, even though we haven't put this podcast out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Weird.
Let's see. Here's a fun topic. An on the spot segment where you and I ask each other, let's say 3 random questions that you have no idea what's coming. So I'll ask you 3 questions and you'll ask me 3 questions. Obviously not all in a row, and we'll just discuss it. And the idea there is to be as unscripted as possible with our answer. So that might entail some long pauses. And I know,
Yeah.
silent time is not the best time, especially on a podcast. But we might need 5 or 6 or 10 seconds to think, because the on the spot segment is going to put us on the spot. And so our first answer, it's us thinking through that particular topic. It might be funny, it might be serious, it might be nonsensical. It's whatever it is.
Yeah. So here's an example. It could be something like the spectrum. Let's give an example of the spectrum. What'd you have for lunch today? Ready to go.
Right. Okay, perfect. Right? Yes.
What did you have? So tell us.
Pizza.
You had pizza for lunch? Dude, really?
Yeah, got back from the lake and the kids wanted pizza, so we had pizza. So we called it Linner because we had it late. So we had lunch dinner together. Yeah. It could be something like best country song historically or current right now.
Probably Garth Brooks, the one where he talks about I got friends in no place.
Oh, that one. Okay. All right.
I think that's probably the best one.
Mine would be Garth Brooks also, but The Dance.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'd be something like that.
That's going to be a tough one for me because I'm terrible with names of artists. So y'all are going to probably hear me singing and giving you like quotes, like lines from movies. I'm like the movie with the and I'll describe it because I'm super good with narratives, terrible with names. It's a problem. It's legitimately a problem.
I'm hit or miss. Some names I can really get, and then some, not a clue. So, okay, cool. So it'll be something like that. Let's see. If you're all watching, I'm reading. So let's see.
We see that. Defend a position.
Pick a side of an argument. See who argues it best. Oh, okay. That's going to be nuts because you're going to have to. So is this you giving me a position or me giving you a position, and you have to argue it? Meaning it's not necessarily your own personal perspective on it, but it's your ability to argue that position. Is that kind of what you're going with? So
I want, so what it is, so we're about asking better questions in here, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes the way to get to the better questions is to take different sides, come up with the answers, then go to battle for the purpose of not winning, but coming up with the better questions, right? The idea is that the end, it's, wow, when you said this really stumped me. It made me like, I had to go back and fumble through that.
Yeah. Okay, I get
that's a rabbit hole that we should probably explore, because if that's the toughest part for me to defend against, that means something. I don't know what it means yet, but it means something.
Okay, so let me give you an idea. So this might be what we talk about. So I would say you and I both grew up around horses and horse racing, thoroughbreds and quarter horses primarily, and we both enjoy the sport of horse racing. But is it cruel? Right?
No.
So that would be a topic where we say, okay, you argue that it is cruel, and I'll argue that it's not. Yeah. And then we'll flip it. And we'll say, okay, it isn't cruel. And it is cruel. What is it? Right? Yeah. We know that horses love to run. We know that that's what they're born to do, and that's what they do. But they're not born to get whipped. Right? They're not born to get saddled. So is it cruel? Well,
Well,
and then we go into it.
They do like to be ridden, though. If you put a rider on a horse and the horse and the rider are a herd or a pack, oh, the horse loves to have their rider with them.
And
Absolutely.
they do respond to positive reinforcement, even verbal reinforcement.
Yes, they do.
Which is really weird because they're essentially wild animals that have been tamed. But
so are dogs, though. Are you telling me that dogs don't love to be with their owners?
Okay, that's a needy animal versus a non so needy animal. But anyway, so this is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No, that's interesting.
So that would be a topic.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Good deal.
And then, that's it. That's all we have on our list for now. I would say that this is a list of what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 or 9 things. And it's probably in reality a list of about 1,000. We haven't grown it yet.
Okay. Let's put this out there too. Just out of curiosity, are we open to the audience sending us ideas, things to talk about?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if they're listening and they like the things that we're saying and the questions that we're asking, and they want to know what our perspective is on what questions to ask, I'm all about the audience considering questions that we haven't. And so if they can think of better questions, then we can take those better questions and try to find new, better questions. So 100%.
Okay. Awesome. So that means maybe, I know I'm looking way down the road, but maybe if this podcast takes off somehow, and I say if, because you just never know.
Never know.
If it takes off somehow down the road, maybe we could get into doing, some short live sessions where audience gets to, send us questions and we're on the spot answering them in the moment. They're sending questions, say through the live chat while we're literally live. That would be, that would make that segment of, ask us some spontaneous question. Right now we're going to ask each other. But imagine if, there were, 10,000 people out there that were, vying to ask us a question. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm asking you that one. Jason, there's a question there, and then throw it at you and see what you do.
Yeah.
It could make it pretty entertaining.
No, it could. And here's the thing. This podcast is something that you and I are starting with the idea of asking better questions. But I am a firm believer that there are nearly 8 billion people on this planet that could all contribute to asking better questions if they would just give themselves a chance, think, and don't try to answer everything. Take what you've heard, take what you've seen, take what you've observed, and then say, okay, is that what I saw? Does it mean what I think it means? Do I have the perspective that I need to at least attempt to formulate some kind of answer to move me down the path to the next question? If we can get everyone to slow down and do that, I think we can come up with solutions to things, not answers, but solutions to things that can help propel us forward as a community, as a culture, and as a planet.
Love it. All right, so let's end with a question. It's a really simple question, but which background is better? All right, folks, I'm going to leave it right there. Yeah. Which background is better? We got 2 different backgrounds. Which background is better? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all enjoyed this, and there's more to come. We'll see you all later. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and follow.
You can go to guidosbros.com. That's GUIDOSBROS.com for additional content.